Welcome to Lesson 11. Hopefully before you begin this lesson, you've perfected all of the skills that we learned in the first half of the book. You use Graduation 2 to test your techniques, your rudiments, and your reading skills. It's important that that's mastered because that foundation is what we build upon in the second half of the book. What we're going to learn in Lesson 11 is a new technique called the double bounce. We're going to apply that double bounce to learning how to read rolls in quarter and eighth time, and we're going to learn a new rudiment called the double paradiddle. Let's get started with the double bounce. Now this skill is actually something we've been doing from the very beginning, believe it or not. The double bounce is produced exactly like the multiple bounce that we learned in lesson number 2. Remember that the multiple bounce, what we're doing is striking the drum once, squeezing the fulcrum, and producing multiple sounds, like this. What we also learned is that the pressure in the fulcrum is what regulates the speed of the bounce. If I squeeze my fulcrum tight, I produce very fast bounces. If I relax my fulcrum, I can produce wide open bounces. So, this is the first skill necessary for you to be able to play great sounding double bounces. So let's go back. Here's the exercise that I use for my students to learn this double bounce skill. Start with what you did back in lesson 2 by producing those wide open multiple bounces. One stroke, multiple sounds. The next thing I want you to do is to pick up the stick after 4 bounces. Once we have that down in the right and the left hand, and I can do 1 stroke for 4 sounds, then pick up the stick after 3 bounces. One stroke, 3 sounds, and you probably guessed it, 2 bounces. That is the double bounce. So take that exercise and practice it for a couple of days until you can do that on the right and the left hands perfectly. Multiple bounces, 4s, 3s, 2s, making sure there's only 1 stroke for multiple sounds. Stop, go practice. Okay, we've worked up that double bounce on each hand. Notice those are not double strokes. And a lot of times students will get into trouble because they hear 2 and they automatically think double, double, double that we learned in the previous lesson. Completely different technique altogether. We'll blend them together a little bit later, but for right now I want you to think of that as being more like a multiple bounce than a double stroke. The first exercise that's notated at the top of lesson 11 shows you 4 wrist strokes, or 4 quarter notes, followed by 4 bounces. Here's the way that exercise will look. Now if you're not getting nice open bounces, there's a good chance that you're squeezing at the fulcrum too hard. If you're playing double strokes, this is probably what you're going to look like. Very easy to see how my hand is hitting twice. Okay, both of those are wrong, so it takes a little bit of time to work out that first exercise on the right and the left hands, getting 4 strokes and 4 double bounces. Stop and practice. Okay, we got that down. Now, the second exercise at the top of lesson 11 shows you 4 wrist strokes, alternated this time, and in the second measure, 4 bounces, alternated. So this is what this exercise will look like. That will take a little bit of time to develop, and it's really important that you've mastered those other skills before you try that one. 2 common mistakes. Okay, those are double bounces, but I'm so squeezing hard on my fulcrum that they're so tight together you can barely tell they're doubles. Or this. Okay, I'm really exaggerating. When I did my double strokes from the very beginning of the book and we've worked up being able to play a roll on our leg, essentially there's only a certain speed that I can achieve before my hands start getting tense. Okay, I've been drumming for a long time, so I can produce a pretty quick roll with my fingers and my wrist. Now, what I'm trying to do here is increase the speed of my rolls. So if I want to get faster than what I'm able to do with wrist strokes, that's why I incorporate the double bounce. Listen to the sound of this little rudimental etude that I'm just going to create on the spot using those open bounces, or those double bounces. So if I want to create rolls that are that fast, that still have that open quality to them, I can't do that with double strokes, and that's why we're learning the double bounce. Takes several days, or however long it takes, for you to perfect those techniques each step along the way before you begin the next video lesson of learning how to read rolls in quarter time.